Welcome to the Ways of Joy podcast. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. I'm a mindset empowerment coach and an energy healer. This podcast is about finding joy. It will also be about inspiring people who have built joy-filled lives. You'll hear more about how to find joy through the day, the weeks, the months, and years of your life, and learn about how to spread joy. You'll also hear powerful stories that don't sound joyful at the beginning, but where joy was found. I started this podcast because I wanted to normalize finding joy in the ups and downs of daily life. I hope you feel inspired and entertained. Pop in your earbuds, take me with you on your commute, or both. Let's do this. Find waves of joy. Would you like to feel better and release limiting beliefs? Of course you would. I created a free meditation for you that's downloadable. As soon as you click submit, I'll email you with a downloadable version of this free meditation. Go to brendawinkle.com/feel better. Hello, and welcome back to the Waves of Joy podcast. This is the first episode that I'm recording in my new home. My house closed last week on Thursday when I was in Los Angeles. After only 3 days on the market, we got an offer, and only 5 weeks later, the house had closed. And I made a significant amount of money on the sale of the house because I had put so much down on the house. And I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because I want to talk to you about intuition, how to know when you're having an intuitive hit, and how to tell the difference between a fearful thought or a thought that perhaps was planted by somebody else that isn't in your highest integrity. So, when we talk about intuition, let's talk about this from a couple different perspectives. One perspective is that we all have an intuition. We all have an inner knowing. We are taught through the schooling that we attend and through our culture, especially if you are a person of color or a woman, you are taught that you can't trust your intuition, that you must rely on the authority figures in your life and around you because they know best. Now, this just isn't always true. In fact, I would venture to say it's often not true. You know what's best for you. You are your highest authority, full stop. But when you're taught that you can't trust your intuition, it becomes difficult to trust your intuition, right? So the way that I began to learn to trust my intuition was not a straight and narrow path. In fact, it started with yoga. I discovered yoga in 2008. My sister gifted me a class pack to a hot yoga studio, and we went together for the very first time that I attended this class. And it took me 6 months to go back for the second class because I was so overwhelmed by the heat and by the sensations running through my body and the things that happened in my mind. So 6 months later, I started to go back and became a regular and loved it. And that was really the first big step to my own healing journey, healing from PTSD caused by an abusive marriage. If you don't know my story, I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version. After 14 years of marriage, I discovered that I was in an abusive relationship. I knew I was in an unhappy relationship, but something happened in that 14th year that I actually discovered that it wasn't just unhappy, it was abusive. And I discovered this by really speaking partial truths to the people in my lives who called me on it and said very lovingly, I think you need to get some help. And of course, I bristled a little bit. I wasn't really, I didn't want to get help. And I was kind of offended that they even suggested I needed help. But I respected these people who had told me that I need help. And so I went to go find a therapist. mostly to prove them wrong. I'll admit it wasn't actually to get the help. It was to prove them wrong, but I still respected them enough that I was willing to go through the motion. Well, in the process of me trying to prove them wrong, I discovered that my marriage was abusive. In fact, it was so dangerous that I was told by many experts, including the National Domestic Violence Hotline, in addition to the therapist that I saw, that I needed an exit plan. So, long story short, I left, moved into a domestic violence shelter where I lived for a period of time, and then moved in with my parents for several weeks, probably closer to 2.5 months, almost 3 months, and then rented a home with still the two suitcases that I had left with. I left with my 5-year-old daughter, two suitcases, and $400. And I began to rebuild my life piece by piece by piece. And I rented a home, still had those two suitcases, a couple of boxes that my mom had given me, a couple of boxes of things a friend had given me, and that was it. And I just stepped out on faith. And my Mary Kay sisterhood, I was a Mary Kay sales director at the time, furnished my house from top to bottom. It was absolutely incredible, extraordinary, breathtaking, and so moving. And I decided in that moment that I was going to pay it forward and make it my mission to empower other people. Because here's the thing, when you are empowered, you're owning your own power, you don't find yourself in situations that keep you stuck because you have the resources, both the mental resources as well as the physical resources, to get yourself into a better feeling situation. And so that really became the seed that is now Brenda Winkle Empowerment, which is my company. And so that is my why. I want to pay it forward and empower other people. So let's talk more about intuition because I was not following my intuition at that time in my life. In fact, I tapped it down. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to experience it. I definitely didn't want to know what my intuition was because my intuition was telling me that everything I was living was a lie and that I wasn't comfortable and I wasn't happy and I wasn't safe. And changing the status quo felt so scary and so big that it was better for me to stay in that situation for a time than it was for me to challenge that status quo. And so I really intimately understand that feeling if perhaps that's where you find yourself. And I'm sending you so much love and compassion. And I also want to empower you to step into learning to rely on your own intuition, your own inner knowing, because you have it. You have it for sure. So as I was saying, my first experience really finding my intuition was in a yoga class, and I became a student of yoga. I'm still a student of yoga and have a daily practice. Although I got off track a little bit in the last year, but still managed a weekly or biweekly practice, and now I'm back into my daily practice. And I found it so healing, so helpful to be embodied, to be back in my body, and to recognize that I could be in difficult poses and still flourish. And that gave me the strength and the courage to find out more about myself, about my body, about my capacity, and about my intuition. And it was in a yoga class that I was introduced for the first time to Reiki. And it was really funny because I taught down the hall from this woman who has become one of my closest friends. Her name is Kathy Kearns, and she owns Reiki Renewal in Boise, Idaho. Well, Kathy heard me talking in the yoga class about wanting to find a massage therapist. And she happened to have a business card for someone. And on that business card, which wasn't even Kathy's, it said something about Reiki. And I said to Kathy, I've heard of Reiki, but I don't really know what it is. And she invited me to come try a session. And oh my gosh, it was like a whole new world opened up. I felt so good, so relaxed, so calm, very clear. Mental clarity was something I was craving, and I couldn't believe how much came from that. And I found my intuition beginning to wake up with my first Reiki session. And I told Kathy, I want to know more about this. And so I got my Reiki 1 certification in 2015. And about 3 months after that, I got my Reiki 2 certification. And about 3 months after that, I began a Reiki master program. And I became a Reiki master in 2016 and have had a daily Reiki practice ever since. Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing that promotes your body's own relaxation so that your body can heal. And the beautiful thing about Reiki is it's universal love energy. And it makes me think of the infinity sign because as you give Reiki, you receive Reiki. So it's such a beautiful give and take. And it's just soothing and healing and clarifying. And because Reiki is universal love energy, it also opens up your intuition. And one of the most impactful things that Reiki did for me was it validated all of the things I had known and seen and heard my whole life, but had tapped down, thinking I was weird or that it was in my imagination. And when I began to study Reiki and make it a part of my life, I realized that I actually have a very good sense of intuition and that it is finally honed, and that with Reiki, it became even stronger because I learned the skill of Reiki and the skill of tuning into my own intuition. And one of the most impactful things that I had experienced with Reiki is I was unable to go into crowded places like malls or crowded concerts because the energy there and so many people was overwhelming. It made me physically sick. And I learned how to protect my own energy through Reiki. And that has literally changed my life because it has enabled me to go to places that I really wanted to go, do things I really wanted to do, and meet people that I really wanted to meet that I would not have been able to if I didn't understand and know how to protect my own energy. So when I began to really tune into my own intuition, the thing that I realized was that I have a very keen sense of intuition, a very well tuned communication method with not only my own intuition, but with the messages of spirit guides and angels and ancestors. And I haven't talked a lot about this in the past for a multitude of reasons. And I'm realizing that I really need to share this with you because I have a feeling if you're drawn to Waves of Joy podcast, there's a part of you that is also highly sensitive and perhaps intuitive. And so I just want to give you permission to step into that and to give you some skills that you can take with you that can help you learn to protect your own energy and really supercharge your life in the way that you really want. So let's start with protecting your own energy. This one move will change everything about your life because if you're highly empathic or intuitive or highly sensitive, you are taking on the energy of people around you. And you need to know that that's a choice. And there's another choice. You can choose to maintain the awareness of the feelings of the people around you and not experience it yourself, which frees up a tremendous amount of bandwidth. Because, oh my gosh, let's face it, it is exhausting to feel your own emotions and then have the emotions of everybody else piling up on you. Am I right? Oh my gosh. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to find a way to bubble up your own energetic field. The way I like to teach it is to imagine yourself zipping up a parka. So starting at your pubic bone, you're going to make a zipping motion up, 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 up your body and over the back of your head. And you're going to repeat that 3 times. So let's do it together. Here, let's zip up 1 time over the back of the head and 2 times, and go over the back of the head, and 3 times, go up over the back of the head. If you don't enjoy the physical sensation of zipping, you might imagine yourself blowing up a big, beautiful white light or blue light filled bubble so that you're bubbling up. So you can think about zipping up your energy. You can think about bubbling up your energy. The mechanism doesn't really matter. The result is what matters. The result is that you have now protected your energetic field so that everything that you're experiencing is truly yours. You will still be aware of what people think and feel outside of your energetic field, but you won't actually feel it. I believe that one of the reasons people get involved in people-pleasing behaviors is because they're highly empathic. And if you're highly empathic and you find it physically painful to tell somebody no because you experience their disappointment as your own, why would you tell people no? Why would you live your own life if it's physically painful for you? So by learning to zip up and protect your own energy, it will literally change your life because then your experiences are your own. You will still know what other people think and feel. I promise. That's usually one of the big fears of highly sensitive or empathic people. They're scared that if they zip up or they bubble up their energy, that they'll no longer know everything. And it feels like you're walking around kind of with a key to the universe when you can kind of tap into the emotions and energies of people around you. But trust me, even if you zip up or bubble up, you will still know. You'll still have that awareness, but you won't have to feel it or experience it yourself. It's game changing. So I really want you to do that. Number one. And then number two, I want you to pay attention to the physical sensations in your body. Your body is talking all of the time. And if you have a sudden pain that just comes on unexpectedly, ask that pain if it's yours, number one, and number two, what it's trying to tell you. Now, you might be thinking, Brenda, of course it's mine. Hear me out. If you are highly sensitive or empathic, it is likely, even probable, that you are experiencing other people's physical pain the same way you experience their mental pain. And so if you feel a sudden pain, it's worth asking, is this my pain? And what do you have to tell me? Because if it's not your pain, and then you can learn something from it, you can learn maybe another person needs some help or some healing or some support. You can offer that help, healing, or support to that other person. And then here's the beautiful part. When you ask the pain what it's there to teach you, and you get the answer, 9 times out of 10, it will dissipate and you won't feel it anymore. And if it's still there, here's what I invite you to do. I invite you to pretend as though you're removing strands of energy, because that's really what you're doing. You're not even pretending. So you're removing strands of energy from whatever part of your body you're experiencing pain on. So let's pretend for just a moment that I'm holding this microphone by my mouth because I am just moved in and I have my computer on a folding table right now in my new office. But let's pretend I'm going to pull some energy strands from my elbow. So I will just like go close to my elbow and I will clench my fist. Let's say I'm going to clear energy from my left elbow. I'll take my right hand, clench just below my left elbow with my right hand and pull like I'm pulling strands, almost like if you were going to clear hairs that had fallen on your clothes. It's that same kind of motion, that same kind of feeling. So you just pull out those energetic strands until the feeling dissipates. You will know when you're done pulling because you'll feel better. You'll feel clearer. So I invite you to try those two things, protecting your energy and then asking pain what it's there for, what it's there to teach you. And then I guess it's three things really, isn't it? And then clearing it. How did I learn all these things? Well, I'm a Reiki master. So a lot of it comes from Reiki. And a lot of it also comes from my own intuition. But Reiki was the beginning step for me. And I have something I want to talk to you about. I'm offering a Reiki 1 Oregon Coast retreat where we can spend 3 days together fine tuning your skills, fine tuning your intuition, helping you find your inner knowing, and helping promote your own healing. I'm so excited about this that I rented a villa in Rockaway Beach, Oregon. It is absolutely gorgeous, floor to ceiling windows. It's got a hot tub, a beautiful kitchen, and we're going to spend these 3 days together. On the first day, you're going to get your Reiki attunement. That means that we will turn the switch on so that you can begin to experience Reiki healing. And also, remember me telling you that beautiful infinity loop? As you share the Reiki universal love energy, you receive it. And so we'll actually practice giving each other Reiki so that you can go home not only with a new skill set, but with some experience under your belt. And if you're wondering what a Reiki session is like and wondering if it's for you, let me just tell you Reiki can be applied to a lot of areas in your life. You can use it on pets, you can use it on children, on aging parents, on family members. And if you are doing a Reiki session, typically you would have a massage table, although I provided Reiki sessions to clients in day beds or on couches. And a Reiki session is always performed fully clothed. Sometimes it's nice to be snuggled underneath a blanket just to keep the person who's receiving the Reiki really warm and snuggly. And when you receive a Reiki session, some people sleep. It's like a deep, restful, restorative sleep, and some people stay awake and talk the whole time, and it varies a little bit depending on what the Reiki energy really is needed for. So, I'm so excited about this Reiki retreat where you're gonna get to have some training and get to have some experiences so that you'll be confident when you get home about how to really activate healing, relaxation, and access your own intuitive knowing. It's going to be beautiful. I'll put the link in my show notes, but you can go to brendawinkle.com/retreat. And I'm so passionate about this because I really feel like this was the thing that moved the needle in my life the most at the beginning. It was a beautiful first step for me. And it was a first step because it was accessible and it was skill based. Excuse me, which means that you can learn these skills. And I can't wait to share them with you. I can't wait to teach you, excuse me, all about Reiki 1. It's going to be awesome. And I'm holding space for 15 people. The villa sleeps 25. But if we do 15 people, then every person can have their own bed, which is kind of nice. But if you prefer to share a bed with a best friend or a partner, you can do that. And then we can fit more than 15 people. But I just know that this is going to sell out. It's November 15, 16, and 17 of 2022. And there's lots of payment options. So you can choose the right thing for you. And I would be so curious to see if you have questions. And you know what? If you have questions, I just want to make myself available to answer them. And so I'm going to offer you a free clarity call where we can talk about the Reiki retreat. And I just want to be transparent in saying that this call is not going to be a chance for you to get Reiki, but it'll be a chance for you to ask questions about Reiki and really understand what it is in case you have questions, and see if it's a fit for you, because Reiki is just such beautiful, like I said, universal love energy, that it's so healing. And it's used in hospitals all over the world. There is a significant body of research that suggests that people experience less pain before surgery and after surgery if Reiki is performed. And there's a lot of research to suggest that there are better outcomes for cancer patients when Reiki is used. And it's becoming so much more mainstream than it used to be. It's still considered alternative healthcare, and it's not to be used in replacement of your traditional medical or mental health care, but in addition to, it's a complementary care. So you can go to calendly.com/Brenda Winkle, all one word, /clarity to book your clarity call. And if you even think you want to do this retreat, I would highly encourage you to either get that clarity call on the schedule or just go ahead and reserve your spot, because It's going to be a game changer. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I also want to talk to you about a free guide and cheat sheet that I'm offering for you. It's as a way for you to feel better fast. So I don't know about you, but the energy between the eclipse and the new moon and the season change has been kind of a lot for me and for a lot of my clients. And one of the ways that I have stayed grounded through this is by really relying on my toolkit, which is my own Feel Better Fast guide. So I created this so that it's customizable. You can personalize it for you to be able to feel better fast. Now, this is not spiritually bypassing. This is not avoiding your emotions. This is fully feeling and experiencing your emotions, and then shifting them into a better feeling thought. So you can check out your free guide at brendawinkle.com/feel better fast, all lowercase, all one word. I'm so excited to be here. It feels surreal in my apartment. I'm getting ready to get on a plane today. I'm going to Madison, Wisconsin to see my family. And one of the reasons I sold my home was I wanted to have the freedom to travel. And I've already been to Los Angeles since I sold the home, and I'm headed to Madison, Wisconsin, headed back to Los Angeles in early November. And it's just so, so fun. And I want you to be able to live a life of your dreams that is fun for you. So, any way that I can support that, I want to support that for you. So, let me know what questions you have. Let me know what comes up for you. And if you have things that feel like barriers or obstacles, I would love to chat with you about that. So, reach out to me. I'm on Instagram at Brenda Winkle. I'm also on Facebook at Brenda. I think it's Brenda.Winkle111 or something like that. You can search for me and find me there. Or you can email me, Brenda@BrendaWinkle.com. I really love hearing from you. It's never a bother. I love connecting, and feel free to book one of those clarity calls just for you, and we can talk about the Reiki 1 Oregon Coast retreat. Okay, I'm going to go jump on a plane. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. And if you would please go give the podcast a rating and a review, because the more ratings and reviews a podcast has, the more likely it is to end up in the feed of someone who really needs it. And if you know someone who could use some help protecting his or her energy, please share this episode with them. Okay. All my love to you. Bye for now.